tone-deaf tour for Joe Biden and the Socialists continued Wednesday. Joe Biden took time to go tour the Detroit Auto Show. Strange, considering he's never had enough time to tour the southern border, but I digress. What's more embarrassing, though, is that Joe Biden and the Democrats are trying very hard to gaslight the American people and convince us that despite massive inflation on food, 13.5%, housing spiking dramatically, and transportation, unbelievable, they're rising at rates not seen since the 1970s, and the overall inflation rate stuck at 8.3%. They want to tell you that somehow they're doing a great job helping America's working families and ordinary folks everywhere. Newsflash, they're not. The victory tour for the American Rescue Plan, the CHIPS Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, and giving away trillions of dollars to erase student loan debt because they will. It all began at the White House Tuesday, and even the president's biggest cheerleaders in the media were rightfully horrified by the spectacle, as they were all talking about how great the job is that they're doing. Well, more than 60% of Americans live from paycheck to paycheck. Many unable to put enough food on the table, while also seeing the spiraling cost of rent and utilities, too. Did you know electricity was up 16%? It's pretty remarkable, isn't it? NBC News is now admitting that inflation is hurting Americans, and it's coming from every angle. Listen to this.
It's no secret. Inflation is hammering Americans from just about every angle, with industry analysis revealing the average household is spending $460 more a month than a year ago. But even in this tough and uncertain economic climate, there are strategies to ease the pain. It just takes some planning and creativity.
This morning, stubbornly high prices are weighing on Americans.
It's not just food, it's everything.
According to the newest government data, overall consumer prices increased at a faster pace than anticipated, up 8.3% compared to last year.
Yeah, everything's up. Everything. And it's the major networks that are finally begrudgingly pointing out that Joe Biden sucks and has done a miserable job with the inflation and economy. Not something to celebrate, Joe. Here's more.
I think the other areas of the report were really somewhat worrisome. So let's look at food costs, which were up by more than 11% from a year ago. That's the fastest annual acceleration since 1979. Wow. So that's a big number. And then we look at shelter. The number isn't that big. It's up 6.2% from a year ago. But think about how much money of your household goes towards rent or paying for your house. So that core inflation rate, all the other stuff besides food and energy, rising pretty substantially. That's the worrying aspect of the report.
Yeah, so, for example, if your rent's up just 6.5% and you pay $1,000 a month, low rent, $65. Your food bill goes up a couple of $100. Your electric rates, they're up 15, 16%. Ding, 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 ding. Anyhow, the coverage of the wounded economy is being covered by all the networks, in fact. Strange. In fact, here's ABC. Listen to this one.
Inflation isn't going anywhere, and the average American family, according to Moody's, is now spending $460 more every single month in order to deal with these price increases. And you're seeing it in inescapable areas like grocery prices, up 13.5%. Shelter costs, those include rent prices, up 6.2% from a year ago, and medical care services up 5.6% from a year ago. Wages aren't keeping up. The Federal Reserve is doing everything in its power to aggressively fight inflation. But what this really underscores is how hard that is to do when it's deeply embedded in the economy.
Yes, and as I said, that misguided victory lap ended up in Detroit on Wednesday as Joe Biden spent time drooling on and sitting in luxury cars. Almost no one in this country can afford luxury cars, by the way, that are powered by fossil fuels. Ooh, oh, Jill. Maybe he was just drooling because he's 80 years old, suffering from dementia, and his meds were off a bit. I don't know. That's something we should look into. Anyhow, Biden was flanked, in fact, holding hands with Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who's always been riding with Biden. Her words, of course. But right now, the country is in real economic trouble, and with major strikes by rail workers just avoided and temporarily, while strikes of those that unload ships on the West Coast continue to threaten. Whitmer is a rare breed, is as they come, because most Democrats run from being seen with Joe Biden. Greta Whitmer's holding his hand. Maybe she was hoping he wouldn't fall down. And Joe Biden continues to try to sell the failing economic policies that are crushing Americans, and then tried to credit Michigan's governor with keeping schools open. Wonder where did she do that, by the way? Listen to this nonsense.
I ran for office to build a better America, not just to get us back to how things were before the pandemic. So we launched a once-in-a-generation effort to invest in America. We're working to deliver an economy that finally works for working families. We started with the American Rescue Plan. It's taken us from economic crisis to economic resurgence. Jobs are up, incomes are up, people are back to work. And this is a governor who knew how to take that money and use it to keep cops, firefighters, ambulance folk. I mean, you did. Some of the governors literally pocketed the money. They put it to reduce, they wanted to reduce taxes with it. But you used it to keep people employed, keep schools open, keep it all running. You're a great governor. You're a great governor.
Apparently Joe Biden was living in fantasy land and not Michigan like I was. Okay, fantasy land, not keeping schools open, paying firefighters, all this stuff. Really? I'll need a list of all of this, because none of that actually really adds up, Joey. Sorry to say, but that's all nonsense, as he mumbles and stumbles and drools about singing Corvettes and other fast supercars powered by gasoline. Oh, Joey, what are the Green New Deal people going to say about that? By the way, as I mentioned, the rail strike announced just a short time ago has been averted, at least temporarily. The White House forcing a deal, an important one for our economy and the American people. Joe Biden said in a statement at 5 o'clock this morning. No, he didn't. Joe Biden doesn't get up till 8 o'clock in the morning. We know that from the campaign of 2020. Yeah, he doesn't get up before 8. Really? Joe sleeps in. He needs his sleep. And, of course, those diaper changes in the morning. I'm going to have more on this. We're not done digging here. But there is a deal for the railroads. But it has to be ratified by the union members. No idea if that's going to happen. We have no details of what the government gave away of your money to keep the railroads open. We'll take a look at that in a moment. Don't go anywhere. It's the Steve Gruber Show.